A thread by Carlos Osuita, the Beirut port event. The first video in this series is all you need to watch. Let's watch it together without audio, shall we? Blow it up. And here we go. Get ready. All right. Pop, pop, pop. Then a growing orange flame. And then, okay, you saw all that brown smoke and then the vapor cloud. All right, that's all we needed to see. It proves that this was totally controlled. It's actually far more complex than I thought, but I think I know what happened. First, the roaring sound is all the missile warheads going off. So there's like a dull roar in the beginning of it. The stockpile was massive. Compare the roar to this confirmed Israeli destruction of an Israeli's missile depot in Syria. We'll skip it because it's audio. I don't have the ability to disseminate audio at this point. Now, what about the white cloud? People call it a shock wave, but it's actually water vapor in atmospheric air. The shock wave compresses the air, condensing atmospheric humidity into clouds as the shock wave expands. After the shock wave has passed each fixed point, the air at that fixed point decompresses and the clouds become invisible water vapor again. Now, the white cloud dome always follows the shock wave. That's why the dome starts in the center and symmetrically expands outwardly. One, bam, bam, bam. Two of two. Here's your, okay, now we're seeing a little vapor cloud caused by shock wave. See? Ta-da. And then enormous truck bomb in Iraq. I'll blow this one up. I'm sure most of you have seen this one, but here you go. See? There it is. Okay. There's your enormous truck bomb in Iraq. Truck bombs are extremely well engineered. They're designed to spread the blast effect outward in order to produce maximum damage. The blast effect going upward is lost. One, two, sorry. So, bam, 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 bam. And then finally 3 of 3. And it gets bigger. And then, isn't that great? See how fast the cloud of water vapor dome, the cloud or water vapor dome dissipates? See how symmetrical it is? The Beirut event created a cloud that bears no resemblance to any I've ever seen. Everyday cameras all record at different moments in time. The only way to have captured the Beirut event as it actually happened would have been to use a stationary camera filming at 1,000,000 frames per second. But this shows that the entire store of rocket fuel went up simultaneously. Not possible in an accidental detonation. What happened next can't be explained by any known law of physics. The cloud formed long after the event, and it proves that most of the blast effect went straight down. That means this had to have been a controlled event. One. Two. The dust is rising, but no cloud. Three, finally, the cloud begins forming, but only at the bottom and in like random places all over the event. Look up, see, bam, bam, bam. The random places look like popcorn. 4, look how totally asymmetrical that vapor cloud is. I'll explain my theory in a moment. All right, let's look at this vapor cloud. Oh ho ho. 5, still multiple events, not a cohesive whole. Look at it form, look at it form, look at it form. 6 of 6. From this angle, you can clearly see that it never became the symmetrical dome that's the signature of one event. Here's another good video. All right, so let's check this out. Let's see how big it is. All right, okay, so let's open it in YouTube and blow it up. Sorry for the Hyundai commercial. All right. All right, here we go. Wow, okay. All right, moving on. Look at the cloud at the bottom and in random places above the warehouse. Look how long this cloud lasted. 2 of 2. Again, here's how fast the truck bomb cloud dissipated. Watch. Truck bomb cloud. Watch how fast. More or less instantaneous. No shock wave on the water. Let's verify that. Here's a view from the water. Yeah, it completely dissipates before it gets to the water. That's odd. All right. The technology is far more advanced than I ever imagined. Remember, the cloud dissipates after the blast effect passes fixed points in atmospheric air. Why did the Beirut cloud last so long? Because the blast effect was slowed down. This is normal high explosive blast effect. Ready? This is in slow motion, obviously. All right, there's your high. Did you see that? If you didn't see that, roll it back. You see the perfectly symmetrical dome, perfectly symmetrical. I've known since 2015 that the new weapons use either kinetic energy from hypervelocity projectiles or they use directed blast effect. In 1990, the Israelis created a stable hypervelocity projectile that traveled at 27,000 miles per hour, 12 kilometers per second, 26,843 miles per hour. That was 1990. Now, after at least $5 trillion of funding by the Gulf Cooperation Council, the other weapons used directed blast effect. In this case, a projectile was fired into a trench. The projectile ejected vapor upward, but detonated it downward onto the terrorists. One. All right. Okay, so here we are. Beginning of an explosion, I think. Here it is. Okay, hang on. Let's roll back for 1 sec. All right, vapor upward and then shit getting messed up in a downward motion. 2 of 2. See that dust cloud? The blast effect was directed, see, as it was even evident in the previous slides. And then bam. Okay, so yeah, it's unmistakable. All right. Jaish al-Tuwar are secular rebels with no known outside patrons. They fight only Islamists and they use completely unknown weapons. Handheld incendiary missile fired from the hip. No optical sights needed. Sets the entire inside of the target on fire. No idea what the hell this is. No backblast. Again, fired from the hip. No optical sights needed. 1. 2 of 2. Fragmentation incendiary warhead. The missile gunners must be wearing an eyepiece with a crosshair on it. As long as the gunner keeps the crosshair on the target, that's where the missile will hit. SACLOS, semi-automatic command to line of sight. All of that is 2015 technology. Clearly, we're in second generation stuff. The reason the Beirut cloud lasts so long was that the event was actually a series of multiple events that first destroyed the missiles and their warheads and then destroyed the underground facilities. Then the blast effect was slowed down and simply pushed the cloud. In a normal explosion, the cloud exists only at fixed points in the air as the dome-shaped blast effect passes through. Here, the initial cloud didn't dissipate because the blast effect was deliberately slowed down using counter detonations. That's what the small popcorn-shaped clouds are. They created blast effect that went inward. The only way to have done this was with swarms of flying automatic fuel-air explosives. There are now full-sized missiles with no flying surfaces and no visible means of propulsion. The dot on the back is a beacon to allow SACLOS, semi-automatic semi-automatic something line of sight. I forget what the C stands for. Sorry. Then there's this thing. The drone swarms I'm talking about aren't little winged bugs. They're sleek and wingless, made of frangible material that turns to dust, leaving no trace. The Beirut event was absolutely not the accidental explosion of 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate. It was the deliberate, controlled destruction of Hezbollah's entire long-range missile supply. Yes, people were cut and bruised and traumatized. They would have died in a war. Almost all of the dead and missing are military-aged males. So are most of the seriously injured. This was a military operation, years in the planning, and we still haven't seen our allies' full capabilities. Addendum, 1 of 2. Wow, I was right. It took the sound 8 seconds to reach the boat, which means the camera was 1.5 miles away. As you can see, nothing that would cause echoes. So turn up the volume and listen to the slowed down part of the video. Link in the description, guys. At least 5 separate reports. No way was this accidental. Controlled destruction of Hezbollah's missiles with blast effect mitigated to spare civilians. Hooah!